Hello. I am making a video, second attempt now. I think I'm gonna delete the first one. That wasn't going anywhere because I tried to do a video in a lying down position on the grass, getting grounded and everything. And I had my beautiful pink fluffy pillow. And that looked so good, but then the ants came bombarding me, and that did not work at all. I'm looking in the sky, and the blue God is infinitely beautiful. Absolutely infinitely beautiful. So gorgeous. Oh yeah. So, I want to talk about love and kindness. And what is love? What does it look like? Love is loving yourself. Love is taking care of your health. Love is not drinking alcohol. Love is not taking drugs. Love is saying, no, thank you, I'm good, if someone offers something like that. Love is never, ever smoking, okay? So love is not even hanging out with people who smoke. So love is finding a property far away from other people, far away from their disgusting particles, and I don't even think about the Mariana, the whiff that comes over the fence. Obviously those things, they don't know boundaries. Those smells, those fumes. So now we need to get far away from all of these things, all of these unhealthy smoke fumes and loud noises, people playing loud radios. Oh, by the way, those really loud radio speakers that they have in cars, the ones with the real extreme loud sounds and vibration and bass vibration, those types need to be outlawed, okay? And it should be illegal to bother other people with loud sounds like that, with whatever radio or whatever they have in their music player or whatever. All of these extremely loud sounds should be illegal. Should be against the law to bother other people with that, whether that's someone in their car or whatever motorized vehicle, or in their house, or even I've seen homeless people with speakers on their backpacks walking by with real loud disco shit music and stuff like it's like, what the heck, Jesus, the other people don't want to listen to that, not even for 5 minutes, as I'm doing hedge clipping outside in the front yard. Someone walking by there with real loud speakers, and I have to listen to something like Mariah Carey or Christina Aguilera. I have nothing against these women. I just don't like the music, right? Sorry about that. I don't like it. I hate that music. The music absolutely sucks. It is Dollar Tree music of the worst caliber. And I do not want to hear this while I'm hedge trimming or whatever I'm doing, picking up other people's trash in the front yard, right? No, I don't want anything to do with those types of things. And then they even bombard us with it in commercials on the internet, which should be illegal. Commercials should be illegal. It's absolutely wrong for people's nervous system. All of that is not love. Okay, all of this. Commercials are not love. Drugs, smoke is not love. Party shit is not love. Peer pressure is not love. Romance is not love. Okay, I needed to say it. It's important. There could be a couple, and when I see that, and when they say to each other, I love you, and I see that quite a lot here in this region, where people, when they go to the store, or they go somewhere, they go, I'm going to the store, I love you. No, like this. Love ya. Love ya. Love ya. So, okay. So, now that's love. That means they care. They care about the other person. That means they want to make assurances. They want to say, yeah, I want that other person to always know that I love them, no matter where I go. That's love. That could be happening in a romantic relationship, and it should be happening in a romantic relationship. So when I hear that, I'm happy for them, and I think that's good. Okay? So I want to hear that and see that more happening from people towards the animals, when someone has a horse, for example, and they go through all kinds of dressur, as they call it in German, dressur practice with the horse, and the horse will do anything the person wants, and totally unnatural for the horse to do all of that. And then these people, then the horse is sweating, and then they bring the horse back into the horse barn, and then they take all that stuff off, and then they go home, and they don't even talk to the horse. Now, that's not love, okay? So if the horse does all of that for you, the least you can do is say, baby, I love you, okay? I'm sorry I made you go through all of this dressur. Okay, so it's not good at all. And if I was the governor of Earth, which I would like to be, then I would make dressur illegal. Yeah. And I would make it mandatory to say, baby, I love you, to your horse. Okay, so I just wanted to make this very crystal clear. And also, the way you talk to your dog, okay? You have to say, baby, I love you, okay? So, and then you will say, oh, he doesn't even know what that means. Yes, he does. He absolutely does, and she does. And they all do, okay? They absolutely know. They give you a kiss when you do that. A wet kiss with the tongue. They lick your whole face for saying that. And that's very, very touching your heart when that happens. So that's love, okay? We need to practice love. We need to practice everything in the world that pertains to love. Gardening, this is a miracle here, what happened here. My amazing tomato plant. My tomato plant made a comeback of Batman superhuman style proportions. I am amazed. And you know why this happened? So last winter, when the winter came, that Paul had bought this tomato plant, and it wasn't doing very well in that cardboard pot that it was in, and also the cardboard pot that's kind of messy and all of this. It can catch mold. So I implanted this into one of the 5-gallon containers. They have holes on the bottom so the water can drain, and the stuff can also get grounded from underneath. This is very important if you want to use them as planter pots. So I put our self-made black fertile earth soil into it that comes from the earthworms decomposing all the bio waste, okay? And that's amazing. It's an amazing process. I have observed that with my eyes, and it's purely delightful to watch all of these amazing large pink earthworms eat all that, the dung and the bio waste from the kitchen, everything, okay? And they really gobble that up, and they like it, and they poop out the real good smelling, earth smelling, healthy soil that the plants need. So I filled half of the bucket with that stuff, and then I set the roots of the tomato plant, I set that on top lightly, and then I filled in more with our compost around the side so that the tomato plant sits very firmly in that pot, surrounded with the good soil. Then I had to water it very good so that the roots can grow into the new soil. And the tomato plant was so happy. That was about August last year. So happy. It grew huge, and it had amazing beefsteak tomatoes that were this big, huge, and they were so delicious, and I ate them right there, picking them up. I couldn't help myself. Paul didn't want me to do it, but we had to eat them, and it was creating so many also. And then they would be partly on top of the other plants or partly on the ground, so I had to pick them up. But I picked them ripe, and we cut them up, put it in the salad. Tasted so incredibly good. Or I just ate it right here, sitting here on this cooler. And so then the winter came, and a lot of rain and cold temperatures, and so the tomato plant, the part that was growing and blooming, that wilted because of the temperatures, and then it wilted down, and I didn't want it to die, so I put it into the greenhouse, the one that I use for sowing, and put it in there also together with another pot, with another plant, because I know they like company, they don't like to be alone. So, and then I watered them off and on, not too much, because I didn't want this to get moldy. They were standing on the ground, so they were not in some kind of retainer pool, because if they are in a retainer pool through the winter, then it can cause mold, because if it doesn't evaporate, and so the plant also has to go through a dry phase of like at least a couple of days. And so in the winter time, if the water doesn't evaporate, or if it's stagnant in a retainer pool, then that can cause root rot and mold and stuff like this. We have to pay attention to those things. So, but they were standing on the ground, partly with ivy and grass in the greenhouse, and I would put just a little bit, just a couple of cups into each pot like once a week, that not more than that, or it would get moldy. But that seemed to work, and the tomato plant was obviously going in hibernation. And the other one that was, I think, mixed stuff with blackberry, that is green all year round, and that grows all year round. That is not affected by the cold very much. So, but obviously food plants, particularly vegetable type of, they call tomato a fruit, but I mean it's part of the vegetable garden, of course. And that, of course, is very sensitive to extreme temperatures. So we have to really make sure that we protect them well. And this is, I think, was really the key of all. People won't believe it, but I believe it. I talked to the tomato plant and the other one. I talked to them. I said, you guys are going to make it through the winter. I know you will, because I am. And then I put a bunch of leaves, a whole lot of leaves that we had. I put them all around these pots, and also partly on top to protect the roots that are still in there dormant, to protect them from too much coldness. So I just put a lot of leaves around it, and all the way around and on top, and I talked to them all the time. I said, I love you. This is really important. You'll be amazed what these words create, what energy these words create. I love you. And when you really mean it, okay, what these words create, they are creating an energy. This is an energy vortex, okay, of love, of the infinite cosmos, because the infinite cosmos is love, okay? And pampering them, and in the greenhouse, it's a little bit of water once in a while, and I say I love you, and talking real sweet to them all winter long, okay? And Paul didn't think that the tomato plant was going to make a comeback, okay? But I knew that there was a part of the root that was well alive and dormant, okay? And in a hibernation state where it was actually and protected by the healthy soil, not too much water, not too dry, so just the right combination. And then with the leaves on top, leaves like these leaves here, a lot of people, they rake them up all the time. They get annoyed. They say, oh, you need to take all the leaves off. But the leaves that are shed by a tree or hedge, they're serving a purpose. So I often rake them under the English laurel, because that serves all kinds of purposes. First of all, they create a protective layer. That's an insulation layer from the cold. That protects the plant, that protects the roots underneath. This really is like a fur coat almost. And the animals love it. The rats like it. The rats go into them. They use them for their nests and stuff like this. So the birds use them. So leaves are good. And you can also use the leaves for a foot bath, of course. Paul bought himself a foot bath on sale. It's really a $55 foot bath for $34 that he got. He's gonna get me one too, because he talked me into it. I didn't want to spend that much money all the time. You know, we need to keep our money together for our retirement. But a foot bath like this, particularly on sale, is part of the retirement insurance, right? It's part of our natural holistic health insurance, because if we do a foot bath a lot, he had to get it because he has callus under his foot, and the callus kind of thickened and became like gnarly inside of the callus, and so that was hurting him when he was walking. And I wanted him to do a leaf bath. That's what I do with these leaves. I rake them up, I put them into those Dollar Tree store retainer pools and put water in it, and then I let them heat up in the sunlight, and that's heaven, that's pure heaven. And I sit here on this cooler and I put my feet into those retainer baths with all the leaves in it and water. It's like a thick tea that was created by the sun, and just regular tap water, and then you can put your feet in it, and that's love, that's self-love, and that feels so good, so heavenly. I did it here at the other house. I always do that in the summertime, and that feels so good for, the callus on the foot and whatever foot sores you may have. Maybe you have athlete's foot, that will really take care of it. And when I was 13, that was the hippie era, or it was still the hippie era. It was 1978, and I was still hippie, sort of. It was starting to fade out and get replaced by something really bad, but that was still the last years of the 70s. We still had bell-bottom pants, and we still had fanned out large collars on the shirts, and I love that. The 70s and 60s are those are the stars. Those are the two star decades in fashion. That's my personal view on it. And I always try to use them as inspiration for the stuff I make. I made this sweater here. It's an awesome sweater. It doesn't have a big collar, but it's kind of like a little bit hippie style, whatever they want to call it, bohemian type of style, and I like it. It's nice. I made it out of a baby blanket, 2 baby blankets actually. This one, the collar, I made out of a different baby blanket, and it goes very well with this, I think. So yeah, when I was 13, we were crazy, and we were like really crazy. Always wearing patchouli oil and walking barefoot. Ooh, barefoot. Yikes, that was before I had OCD. Barefoot through the city. And I would come home, then I wouldn't even wash my feet. I was so ignorant about self-care and all of that. And then because I had all kinds of like tar and gasoline and different dirty things on my feet, because of that, I developed a really bad foot fungus from walking around barefoot. One would think, oh, it's like the opposite, right? But only if you walk barefoot over a very pristine environment, lawn, ground, forest, pristine is the key here, okay? So if you walk barefoot through a big bustling city with motorized vehicles and all of that leak oil and all of that, no, that's obviously not a good idea. So I suffered from this foot fungus. The dermatologist had no idea at all. They prescribed me some linoleum cream that didn't help at all. So eventually, I was in Waldorf school. This is a Rudolf Steiner school, and I had anthroposophical friends. My parents were all against it because my parents were always like, that smells too healthy or something, which is a weird, strange ego idea. So, but I admired my anthroposophical friends, and they always had the most delicious food, and it was healthy, and they had the most amazing cosmetic. They had Dr. Hauschka and Veleda, and they are based on Rudolf Steiner's philosophy, the best cosmetic you can buy in the world. And I got into it, and my mother didn't like any of them, of the smells. I thought that they smelled heavenly. All of those. The rose cream from Dr. Hauschka, the Veleda foot balm, and then I started to use the Veleda foot balm every day. I used the rosemary foot balm from Dr. Hauschka, so I used all of those every day, and lo and behold, my foot fungus faded away. Okay, it completely healed up, never came back. So I told a guy in LA in a health food store, or it was some kind of health food pharmacy that they had there in Santa Monica. And I heard this guy talk to his friend. He has foot fungus, athlete foot, and he's looking for some kind of remedy for it. And he was not far from the Dr. Hauschka and Veleda aisle. And I was stocking up on Veleda and Dr. Hauschka, and I just was kind enough to say to him, oh, if you have foot fungus, you have to take this foot cream here. Veleda foot balm, okay, that will fix it. And he looked at me with absolute disdain and disrespect. Instead of being grateful for me being a good Samaritan trying to help, he looked at me with contempt. And he said, no, that stuff doesn't do anything. I need something strong. And he walked away, and I thought that was so stupid. Well, then he should just suffer from the foot fungus and get something strong, okay, that will be bad for his body and liver and whatever, something toxic. Yikes. No, not for me. Well, I told him that it fixed it for me. It fixes it. He didn't listen. So I thought, okay, whatever. I hear someone walking over there. So I was just infinitely grateful that I have the knowledge and that I try these different things. I have an open mind, and I recommend it to many people. Very few people listen to my health advice, ever. My parents almost never listen to it. So, but I said, what the heck? Okay, then they're on their own. They have to do whatever they want to do. But I am grateful that I have that knowledge. I am grateful I found out about these amazing products and about anthroposophy and Rudolf Steiner. I love Rudolf Steiner. I don't like religions. I don't like cults, so I can't be an anthroposophist. I'm sorry. But I like that these people are listening to Rudolf Steiner and that they are applying these things in their homes and gardens, and that they don't use pesticides, that they do biodynamic agriculture, that they grow their food plants and their herbs biodynamically, okay? That is the highest standard of organic farming. The absolute highest, that is equal to the natural life cycle in nature. That's like wild harvest system. and it's amazing. So those things worked for me. I also use the foot balm under my armpits, works as a deodorant very, very well. I think I'm probably the only person in the world who does that. But it works, okay, and it's good for your armpit skin. I have very sensitive armpit skin. So someone gave me a deodorant a long time ago, a real good friend of mine, who's also an anthroposophist, but I guess he wasn't using the Veleda. But that was also supposedly a health foot deodorant, but that made my skin peel off under my armpit when I was 16. We were on a ski tour and I forgot to bring a deodorant. And I asked him, he was there, there was like a teenage ski tour. And he had several in his cosmetic bag, and he gave me one, and I liked the smell, everything. I used it every day. Then my skin started to peel off. I forgot now what it was, which company that was, but it was supposedly a health foot deodorant, but did not work. Only Veleda and Dr. Hauschka, okay, is feeding your skin, and that is love, okay? That is self-love. That is their cosmetic is love for the whole world. That's class 1 experience according to Tony Robbins, something that feels good, something that is good for you, is good for others and serves the greater good. That is Veleda and Dr. Hauschka, and that is love, okay? So that's the truth, what I'm saying. So that is what I had to do to get rid of my foot fungus. And so Paul, using these foot baths, he doesn't even put anything in it. It has a thing there in the middle where it's some kind of cappy that has holes in it, where like little holes where you can put leaves in it. They even said that you can put leaves in it, or you can also put Tibetan pink salt in it. And then you screw that on there before you put the water in, and then the pink salt or the leaves that gets infused with hot water, and then it releases the tea from it into the foot bath, and that's really, really good for your feet. But what works really well for me also is just putting the leaves into those pots there, and water, and letting it heat up by the sunlight, and then putting my feet in that and soaking my feet in that for half an hour. It works really, really well. But now he convinced me that he'll buy me one of these foot baths since they're still on sale, and I said, all right. After a long protest for over a week, I said, no, can't afford it. So he just kept it going, kept on bugging me with it. I finally said, okay. So then I will use that at the other house. And I have another cooler to sit on to soak my feet in it. And then I can lean my back against the ivy while I put my feet into the foot baths. That's going to be awesome. So, and all you have to do is you put cold water in it from a garden hose. You turn on the temperature on it, temperature thing, like a jacuzzi. And then it heats up the water to 100 degrees in half an hour. So that it goes that fast because obviously it doesn't use that much water. Not as much water as a jacuzzi would. A jacuzzi would take like 5 hours to heat up. So this only takes half an hour, and then it's 100 degrees, and then it stays 100. You can set the temperature any way you want. You can, I think it goes up to 120, which I don't recommend. But no, I like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's perfect. And it has a bubble feature in it, and it's really nice. So I'm looking forward to it. And so all of these things are self-love, and that is also part of our retirement fund. And he's also going to get me a rose oil, which is also self-love. And of course he wants half of it. I'm going to have to fill half of that up. It's just an ounce, but I have to share half of it with him and put it in one of his saved essential oil bottles. And I will keep mine in the original bottle, and then when I bring it here, I will refill half of it with carrier oil, because I always like to I like to dilute any oil, whether that is fragrance oil or essential oil. I like to dilute it with carrier oil because I don't like it when it is too concentrated. So then the smell is too concentrated, and it's also not good for the skin if it's too concentrated. So you always want to make sure you dilute any kind of essential oil or fragrance oil. So I have the feeling this rose oil, they say it's all pure 100% rose, but I don't believe it. I think it is a mix of rose and also fragrance oil, but that's okay. It's only like $9 for an ounce, which indicates that it is probably just 1% rose oil and the rest fragrance oil. But it got good reviews. People like the smell. They said it smells just like rose, so we'll see. We'll try it. But I went on the website last night of Eden Botanicals. They're in Petaluma near San Francisco, and those are that store, that factory, that essential oil factory. That is probably one of the leading, if not the number one leading essential oil manufacturer in the world. So they get 100 stars. They are so amazing, Eden Botanicals. And I used to buy a lot of essential oils from them when I still had my parents' money, when I thought the money is just coming out of the ATM machine. I looked up to see what an ounce of real Rosa Damascena, pure rose absolute, undiluted, costs. It costs $275. Yes, that's what an ounce is. This much. That's what an ounce of real rose oil costs. It is still love, but you have to dig deeper into your wallet for that. But your wallet can buy love if you have a big wallet and a big bank account, like Chris Cuomo. And I bet he doesn't even buy that oil. I'm gonna tell him tonight, you have to use your money wisely now for your retirement, because he's old too. Yes, let's not kid ourselves, okay? I think he's 6 years younger than me. He and Elon Musk are 6 years younger than me, but they're still approaching the retirement. Okay, they are on their way to retire. They are 54. I am 60. So I am in retirement age now. That's when you are. When you're 60, that's full-blown retirement age. But I guess it's really technically 65. Paul is totally in retirement age. Okay, so I have another 5 years to go, but I'm an early retiree. Okay, but these two men, they look so good, but they are also old. Okay, and they should buy themselves real rose absolute from Eden Botanicals. I'm gonna tell both of them. They probably don't even see my heaven band comment, but I will leave a comment anyway. So, peace and love for all living beings in the entire eternal universe. Blue God protects us.